This is the centre of the Welsh marches. Round about 1090, less than 30 years that is after the Norman conquest, Roger de Lacy, instructed by the king to guard this part of the English border against the still unconquered Welsh, decided to build a castle. He chose a marvellous site, a cliff which on three sides drops steeply to rivers, to the Teme on the south and west, and on the north to its tributary, the Corve. It became, in the course of time, a truly splendid castle, and the town grew up to serve it. This is Ludlow. One street, the spine of the town, runs east from the castle along the crest of the hill. This, appropriately enough, is called High Street. It was originally wide, but later became partly filled in by the Market Hall and a number of narrow parallel lanes to the east of it. From this spine, a number of straight streets spill down the hill towards the river. Two of them are still unusually wide for so small a town. Mill Street, with its fine brickwork, is handsome. Broad Street is unforgettable. And though they look Georgian today, there seems little doubt that in the Middle Ages these two streets were just as wide as they are now. The cobbled inclines, with their nice knobbly texture, are a special feature here. They were valiantly fought for and saved a few years ago when it was proposed to remove them. Further down towards the river, the gradient used to be precipitous, but Thomas Telford, who was the county surveyor for his native Shropshire, eased it by making an embankment. At the bottom of the hill is Ludford Bridge. With its big, bold cutwaters, it dates from the 15th century. Ludlow's other two bridges are Georgian. Corve Bridge, about 1789, and Dinham Bridge, 1823. But before Ludlow's rivers were bridged, Roger de Lacy had chosen them as a good natural defence for his castle. But there isn't much else here that is, except the church, erected in the 14th and 15th centuries. Broad Street displays today a great array of timber framing, and very popular it is without a doubt. But what is interesting is that the Georgians didn't really care for exposed timbers at all. So they covered them with plaster, and even as late as 1902 they looked like this. The most memorable example of this new tendency is the Feathers Hotel. This building, although a good deal restored, dates from 1603 and displays West Country timber framing at its most exuberant. But Ludlow also became, in Georgian days, a fashionable social centre for the surrounding gentry, who, reluctant to make the long journeys to and from London, built town houses here. Others, perhaps the houses of professional men or local merchants, although less grand, are equally pleasing. But whoever would have thought of having Venetian windows and nothing else? 8 of them. It might be called over-egging the pudding, don't you think? As for Broadgate House, this must occupy one of the most unusual sights in England. A large 18th century house, perched with complete confidence upon the sole survivor of Ludlow's 6 13th century gatehouses. A weather vane is a feature too of another of Ludlow's few stone buildings, the Buttercross, built in 1743. It's classical with a touch of Baroque. The style is a little provincial perhaps, but it's a real ornament to the town. Worse still is this one, with its particularly belligerent windows, its top-heavy dormers, and its hard, pasty-faced bricks. And the apotheosis of them all, the Market Hall of 1887, which Sir Nicholas Pevsner apostrophized with delicious aptitude as Ludlow's bad luck. It's pretentious, heavy-handed, and utterly gross in its so-called ornamentation. The principal contribution of our own time is this: ceaseless traffic of a volume and size with which this town just can't cope. Thank goodness work has now started on the long-projected bypass. It can't be finished too quickly for the well-being of Ludlow. And here it is today. This is Samuel Scott's painting entitled Ludlow Looking North of about 1760. And here is Lower Broad Street in the 1840s.